Hey, welcome! In this video we are continuing to build dashboard, and we will create a component that we will reuse multiple times across our application in a few places. So it is going to be an input with the two buttons that allow us to edit it. So when we save it, we actually update data inside the database. Let's go. So first what I propose is to create the actual component. So under components, let's create new file, editable input. For now, let it be empty. Let's just put hello over here. Let's first define how we are going to use it. Let's open dashboard file. Here under hey profile name, let's put divider from our suite, and then let's define editable input. So what props should we pass inside? So first of all, we are going to pass initial value, which will be set to the input. So let's put initial value, which is going to be profile.name. Alright, then we also need to define onSave function that will be fired when we will save the input. So let's put onSave and let's define it over here. So we're gonna put onSave, and this callback function, it will receive the saved value as an argument. So let's put new data. And for now, let's leave this function empty. Also, we want to put maybe some label in front of the input. So we will have an option to pass a React component as a prop to the editable input component. So let's define something like h6 maybe, and let's put it is going to be nickname. And class name is going to be margin bottom 2, because we want to add some space between our label and between the actual input. And also we can pass other props that will be redirected to the input element. So maybe we can also pass something like name, which is going to be, in our case, nickname. So it is going to be input with our nickname that we will be able to edit. Alright, cool. So let's open our component and let's start building. So first we have initial value, our one of the main props. Then we will destructure onSave. Then we will also have label, which is going to be this h6, and there is a chance that this label will not be passed. So let's put null by default, and then also some other things like placeholder maybe. So let's put placeholder, and by default it will be set to something like write your value. Alright, and then also what I propose is to put a prop that will represent our empty message when someone tries to save our input and it is empty. So we can put like a global value that will say that input is empty, but what if we want to customize it? So let's also pass it as a prop, empty message, and by default, if it is not specified in props, we will say that it is going to be input is empty. Alright, and any other prop is going to be our input props. Alright, so for this div, what we are going to do, so here right before the actual input element, we will put label. Alright, then we will put input that comes from our suite. So for this input, at the very first prop, we will pass our input props, and we're gonna override a few of them. So we're gonna override placeholder, which is going to be this placeholder from props. Then we will also have other things that we will manage inside this component, such as its internal state. So when we are going to edit it, we will manage everything from here. So let's put it here in advance. So we're gonna define new state, which is going to be, let's say, just input, and then set input. By default, initial value, it is going to be our initial value that we pass over here. So let's put initial value. Alright, so then we have onChange handler that we need to specify. So let's put on input change. So normally, as you remember, it receives an event object, but in our suite it is slightly different. As a first argument for onChange event, so if I put onChange over here, if I hover on it, you can see that first argument goes value. So it is just made for us to be more user-friendly. So we will have value instead of referencing event target.value. So here we're gonna put also use callback, because we will not have any dependency and we want to optimize it in advance. From here we will call only set input to value like this, and for this on change we are going to put on input change. All right, and also don't forget to associate the actual value with our input, and we are almost done here. Now we also want to make our input editable, so it is going to be just a boolean value that will indicate. So we're gonna create is editable state is editable, and by default it will be set to false. All right, so this input will be disabled when we have is editable set to false. So when is editable set to true, we will be able to manage our input. So let's create actual button that will indicate that. So let's put input group. We will not put just button, because we will have two buttons inside our input, either close or edit. So we're gonna put input group to make it look grouped, you know. So input group button, and inside this button we are going to put icon, and this icon will be the next. So if our input is going to be editable, then we will display close button. So otherwise, when we see the actual input and we don't intend to edit it, we will receive edit to. So this is just an icon with like a pencil, so we can see that we can edit it. All right, so for this on click button we are going to put on edit click, and this on edit click we will define over here. So on edit click also we will put it around use callback in advance, because we will have no dependencies, or actually we do, but it doesn't matter for now. So we're gonna put set is editable to reversed value of our current state. So we will call this function which will reverse the boolean value. And then also we want to make sure that if we click on cancel, we get back to the initial state. So we want to also call set input, and just in case set it back to initial value. So now it appears as a dependency, so let's put it here and let's actually save it and see what is going on here. All right, cool. So now we have it like this and it looks almost cool, but it seems like I missed something. Oh yeah, actually because we use input group, we need to wrap it around input group. That's my bad. So input group, and I'm gonna put this at the end like that. Now let's take a look. Alright, so now it looks good. I can't edit input right now because is editable set to false. So when I click on this button, now I will be able to edit this button. And as you can see, when I click on this button, the on edit click function will be fired. So if we don't have this set input initial value, when I click on this button, it will not be reset to the default value. So we want to make sure that it is always initial if we cancel it. Alright, so what else do we need to do? We need to define another button which will be displayed when we actually click on edit, so we are able to save it. Here what we are going to put, if our input is editable, then we are going to render another input group button. Let's just copy it and put over here. So for on click, we are going to put on save click. It's not going to be the same on save that we pass as a prop. We're gonna define another on save click over here. For now, let it be like that. So for this button, what we're going to specify, we will change icon. Icon is going to be a static icon, and this icon is, if I remember, it is check. Let's take a look. All right, good. Yes, it is check. So it seems like we have the markup. Let's actually define the functionality for on save click. So what we are going to do here, first we're gonna do a very primitive validation. First we are going to get the trimmed value to avoid unnecessary spaces around our text. So let's put trimmed value, and it is going to be input dot trim. Okay, then we're gonna check if our trimmed value is going to be just an empty space. Then we are going to alert. We specified empty message as a prop. We can put this empty message over here, and let's put timeout of 4 seconds. All right, then at the end we are going to put set is editable to false, because when we click on save we want to make it not editable like it was before. And now here we're gonna check against one more thing. It is going to be if trimmed is not going to be our initial value. So we're gonna check if we actually edit something and our value is different. Only then we're gonna call our onSave callback that we specify here inside dashboard. So it is going to be in async function. So let's specify it. Since it is going to be async, it is going to be a promise. So we need to await it. So let's put async, and let's put await onSave that we pass here. And as you remember, this callback will receive new data as an argument. So here we need to pass our actual input. So let's put not input, or maybe trimmed value, because we don't want to put it with just unnecessary spaces around it. All right, so now let's check it out, and here let's console.log new data to see if it actually worked. Now it seems pretty finished. Maybe in the future we will adjust it a little bit to fit our requirements, but for now it looks good. Let's open our dashboard, let's open console, and let's take a look. So now if I edit it, if I cancel, everything's good. So if I again click on save, nothing changes, and we don't have this callback on save fired. So if I change it, and if I save it, now I have the new value that is being console logged from this onSave handler. So actually it worked, and I guess we are done here. In the next video we will actually apply some functionality to this component, or maybe around this component, so we update our real nickname. But for now, let's end this video and let's commit our changes. So I'm gonna put created reusable editable input. All right, perfect. See you in the next one.